seconds, 5 seconds. Start. The government's spending plans for 2021-22 hinges on better compliance, lifting tax collections, and an ambiguous plan to raise Noctax revenue. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has announced large-scale monetization of government sector assets including vast tracts of land and is banking on disinvestment receipts of 1.75 lakh crore. This includes likely inflows from the strategic sale of entities such as Air India and BPCL carried forward from this year's plan. The listing of LIC could be complicated as well as with necessary amendments in the finance bill, and that alone could bolster the revenue kitty. Most significant, however, is the new strategic disinvestment policy for public sector enterprises and the promise to privatize two public sector banks and a general insurance company in the year. The policy promised as part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat package states the government will exist all businesses and non-strategic sectors with only a bar minimum presence in four broad sectors. These strategic sectors are atomic energy, space and defense, transport and telecom, power, petroleum, coal and other minerals, and banking and financial services. In India's brief but tortuous history of disinvestment since it began listing PSUs on the stock markets, the minority stake sales in the 1990s, this is undoubtedly the boldest stance yet. On intent, it goes further than the A.B. Vajpayee government's sales of a dozen odds PSUs from hotels to bread makers, some including Balco and Hindustan Zinc, where the government still has residual minority stakes, have fared much better under private management. It can be no one's case that India's public sector remains at the commanding heights of the economy. Apart from raising precious revenues, the sales or closures of such firms will help the exchequer stop throwing good money after bad and funnel it into more productive endeavors. It is not clear why it took the Narendra Modi administration so long to articulate this plan or make headway on this front even without such a blueprint, as the PM has declared back in 2014 that the government had no businesses being in business. Now that the policy is in place, tactful execution will be as critical as dealing with the usual packets of the resistance that would crop up. While stock markets are on a high, the financial capacity of potential bidders may not be optimal thanks to the pandemic. Among its multiple challenges, the government will need to create confidence in the sale process, ensure a semblance of fair vol- voluminous, give officers some cover from potential post transaction which hunts by auditors and investigating agencies sequence the sales so that the economy does not face shocks or create monopolies, and most of all manage electoral pressures in jurisdictions where their unit would be located. A single controversial transaction could sculpt the monument behind such a plan, and India can ill afford it. Come January 1, 2022, India will join a select group of countries limited industrial trans fat to 2% by mass of the total oils fats present in the product. India would thus be achieving the WHO target a year in advance. In mid 2026, the trans fat content limit was halved from 10% to 5%, and December 2020 the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India FSSAI capped it to 3% by 2021. While trans fat is naturally present in red meat and dairy products, the focus is on restricting the industrially produced trans fat used solely to prolong the shelf life of products at less cost. While the government notification specifically mentions edible oils and fats that are used as ingredient, it also applies to emulsions such as margarines. Targeting these ingredients would in effect result in reducing the trans fat content to 2% in all food items, as these two are the major sources of industrial trans fat. Also, even the fat oil contains less than 2% trans fat. Repeated use at high temperature can increase the trans fat content. The focus on cutting down trans fat content in food arises from its proclivity to negatively alter the lipoprotein cholesterol profile by increasing the level of bad cholesterol LDL while decreasing the level of HDL or good cholesterol. These changes in the lipoprotein cholesterol profile increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. In 2004, when Denmark became the first country to limit industrial produced trans fat content in all foods to 2% of the fats and oils, it faced resistance from much of Europe, including the Europe Commission. However, many countries have since adopted similar restrictions themselves. In fact, in April 2019, the European Union adopted a new regulation from April 2021 to limit the amount of industrially produced trans fat to 2% in all foods sold within the EU. According to a 2020 report of WHO, 32 countries already have some form of mandatory limits on trans fat. The benefits of reducing trans fat can become quickly apparent. as seen in Denmark 3 years after the cap came into effect. It was a reduction of about 14 deaths attributable to cardiovascular disease per 1 lakh population.